Hi friends, welcome to the channel Learning R is Fun. In the last video, we have covered date and time aspects, how it is covered under base R. In today's session, we will build that knowledge further by looking at some actual example, and then we will move on to lubridate. In lubridate package, we have got several functions basically to handle dates, to convert them from strings to date objects, etc. and then to work with them. These functions are much easier to use and they are versatile. So some of these functions we will be seeing in our RStudio. Let's go to RStudio. So I have taken this example of Mr. Virat Kohli's test centuries. So there is a website wherein you can get the data of his centuries in one-day matches, centuries in test matches, then centuries in IPL matches. I have taken the test centuries. This data I have already stored in a text file. Taken from this, and I have copied that into a notepad, and we'll first create that object. The object is VKC. So what I have to do is I have to go to import dataset, and then I will use from readr. Here I will have to browse. So I will browse. I am going to this particular, we are in the 27th topic, Virat Kohli centuries. So I have chosen this. Now it is trying to retrieve the data from this text file. The text files are all retrieved like this, line by line. Now I have to see the tab separation should take place. So delimiter I will change it to tab. Okay. Now this name also I will simply change it to VKC. VKC. Okay. Now this is a character. I want to change it to date. So I have to look at this first. Date. So percentage D. Then there is no separator. That means space. Then month in full. That means I should use percentage capital B. Then year. Then capital Y. So that's what I have to write here. Okay. So I will first change this. So percentage D space percentage capital B space percentage capital Y. Now we'll see whether R understands this. Yes, it has converted it. It's a date. We are getting as a date here, and we have got the name here, and first rows are all names here, and we have done the delimiter properly. So the entire code is now available here. So I'll do import. So VKC has been now created. It is having 27 observations of 7 variables. So you have the date against which team, score, then innings, whether it's first innings or second innings, and which is the venue. So we got all these details. Well, let's close this. Basically, my intention in this exercise is to see between how many days he has scored a century. That is, he has scored centuries, 27 centuries. So on an average, how many days he has taken between centuries. That's my intention. So first, that means 27 centuries means 26 gaps are there. So I am going to use a for loop for I in 1:26. Here what I am going to do, I am going to use a vector first, where I will store the number of days between each date. That means, see, if we look at this, between this date to this date, what is that number of days? That I will store. Then this date to this date, I will store again. Like this, I will have 26 differences. Okay. So I am creating a vector which is a double, and it is having a 26 element length. So then this will be an empty vector or a zero vector, so you can say. All will be zeros. And then I start filling this. So my first entry will be the date 2 minus date 1. So VKC $date. So that is the date component of the VKC data frame minus VKC $date I. This is the first one, this is the second date. So the difference is taken, and that difference is going to be available in diff time, which I have to convert as numeric. Then that numeric I am going to store here. So like this I am going to do up to 26. So I have done this, but second statement also has been transferred. So a diff has been calculated. So the diff vector, if you see, 220 days, 104 days, 71 days, 299 days, like that. So there is a patch here, almost 1 year roughly he has not scored any century. But again here you can see he scored centuries immediately. That's why there is a 0 here on the successive centuries. Okay, now let's find out the mean of this. I'm getting 110 days. I want to display the result. Virat Kohli using cat function. Virat Kohli had scored a test century every 110 days in test cricket as on 23rd November. This is the information given in the particular website. So I'll use the same. Okay, now this I can store it, corrected it. Now let me display this tab. So I got the display here. So here we have seen how to import the data when dates are not in the date format, they are in the strings and all, how to convert it properly and how to do the calculations using difference in dates, which is coming as a diff time, and that I am converting it as a numeric, and then how I am using the mean. Okay, we have done this. Now let's go back to our original code. Now so far we have been using the functions available in the base R. And now we will have to concentrate on the lubridate package. Like base R, lubridate is having a number of functions which are better and made much easier to do a lot of work on the date time object. So we load library lubridate and then tidyverse also. In lubridate we have got simple looking functions like today is the today's date, now is to the time presently. Then you can ask whether it is AM or whether it is PM, and then you can also whether it's a leap year. So you can find out what is the class. The class is a date, that is this date returns a date which is a object of date. Now class now is again passing CT and passing T. Basically this is the parent class and this is the inherited class. So the now function returns a passing CT object. Okay, like we have got as.date in the base R, we have got a date object here. Similarly, we have got as underscore date in lubridate. Doing the same work, but normally the base R functions are replicated in tidyverse also using an underscore to give the difference. Okay, now we can unclass it, and then we will see when a date is unclassed, what happens is, since this date is prior to 1/1/1970, the number of days that have gone by is shown in the negative because it is prior to 1/1/1970. From this date to 1/1/1970, the number of days is what you are getting. Okay. Now there are time zones available, and normally when you ask for sys time, you get a time zone also. We are getting ISC, Indian Standard Time. We can ask what is the corresponding universal time, UTC, and the GMT is also same. These are one and the same basically, but now between these two 4 seconds have passed. So we got this difference. Otherwise it is GMT and UTC are one and the same. It's a synonym, we can say. And Indian Standard Time is 5 hours 30 minutes offset from GMT. So you can see the difference here. From here to here, it's 5 hours 30 minutes. Okay, various time zones are already recognized by the operating systems. What our operating system in the PC in which we are working, what time zones are recognized, that you can get by Olsen names function. The gentleman is Olsen who has maintained this kind of data, and now Olsen names function is going to give you in our PC, the particular PC where you are working, what are the various time zones it understands. So if you look at India, it will be only, it is not IST, but it is, you can say, Indian reunion time. This Indian reunion time is 1.5 hours difference between Indian standard time. Okay. Now there are functions like YMD, that is year, month and day. So using this you can convert this thing into date. So YMD gives you a date now, but this date is shown usually in the string format, but you already converted this into date format. So you can give this without quotes also, then also YMD will understand and will form that date. But you have to give in this format: year in 4 digits, followed by month, and then followed by days. Now you can give time zone also, then accordingly YMD will take that date into the time zone also into account. Now I am giving month, day and Y. Here month I am giving full month, and day I have given as 31st, and year I have given as 2017. This also will be recognized by MDY properly. And if I have given only 4 stroke 1 stroke 17, that also will be recognized. These are the friendlier functions. Similarly, you can have DMY, date, month and year, and you will get this. So these are much easier functions. Now suppose I got today, will return today's date, and that I will change it as date time. So you will get a date time object now. Then suppose now is a time, and that I will convert as a date. Then I will get the date only, because as underscore date converts only date, whereas as underscore date time gives you date and time. That's the difference. So suppose I want 60 into 60 into 10. So this I want to see what is as date time. So I am getting 1/1/1970, 10 hours, because 60 seconds into 60 minutes, you get 60 seconds is 1 minute, and then again 60 minutes into 10. So 10 hour. So that 10 hour is what is coming from the 1/1/1970, 00 hours. Similarly, I want 10 years, 360 into 10 plus 2. I am getting 1970 plus 10, so 1980. Okay. Now I am going to use birthday, DMY. I am converting this as a birthday, and I am going to ask what is the month of this birthday. So it's obvious. Let's going to view object B day, not for, because I have written birthday, so I have to write here birthday. So I am getting 8. So there is a month function where you can get the month out of this. Similarly, you can use a W day function. Using W day function, you are able to get what is the particular day, whether it's a Monday or Tuesday, like that. So I am getting a Friday, and this is the ordered list, ordered factor. Therefore, from there you can see Friday. This particular day is a Friday. Okay. Now we will just look at 3 concepts. One is an interval, another is a duration, third one is the period. There are subtle differences here. Interval creates an interval object. Suppose a course is starting on this date and course is ending on this date. So I am using as date to convert the string into date and then store the date object here. That is course start and course end. I want to give this interval, I want to specify this interval. So let me see what the interval object is doing. The interval function is creating an interval object, and it is saying clearly what is the from and what is the to, and duration, and it is in which time standard. So we have got this. We understood interval. It specifically basically mentions the complete picture of the interval. Okay. Now duration is a time span measured in seconds. Basically, it measures the between from and to the complete elapsed seconds, exact number of seconds in a time span. This is going to be different from period. So let's understand duration first. So the interval which I have specified, interval, course start and course end, this I am going to ask what is the duration. okay, as that duration function is going to tell 51.57 weeks and this many seconds. Suppose I am using the same duration function and I am saying 50 and I am giving the units as seconds, then I will get this duration in 50 seconds. So duration object is going to store the value and the unit and will display them as a string. So duration second is 50. If I say, that also will be the same. And I can use 60. In that case, it will give an amplification also, saying that this is almost 1 minute. Now I am saying duration second is 3, minute is 1.5, hour is 2, day is 6, week is 1. I can do this way also. Then this duration object is created. So it has taken the entire thing and converted that into seconds, and it says this is 1.87 weeks. Okay, now there are very many help functions for duration, and they are d seconds, d minutes, d months, etc. So you can add any time with this and then you get the new time. Like now plus d seconds 120, you get 2 minutes after the present time. If 47 minutes of the present time, I can ask. Similarly, 3 months from now, I can ask. 7 weeks from now, I can ask. So all these things are the helping functions. Similarly, you have d milliseconds, microseconds, nanoseconds, picoseconds, etc. Maybe in some scientific experiments, you may be doing these functions. Okay, now we'll look at period. What is period? Period is a time span specified in units such as years, months and days. Here also we are mentioning in all these units. Here also I am mentioning the difference here is going to be the time as we perceive will be the result. Say period is 5 minutes, 5 seconds. So here what happens? It says 5 seconds. Similarly, I am giving 2 different units here. So that is 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Here 3 units, I am getting this. So period is working like duration, but the difference you will see now. So a period I am writing here and I am storing it in P object. Okay. The same thing as a duration I am storing. And now I will ask what is the difference between P plus system and D plus system. I am getting almost once because of the issuing of command, otherwise they are same. So whether you add P plus system or D plus system, you get the same result. But when the time is larger, say here P1, I have given a period 5 years, 3 days and 1 hour, and same thing, but years I have given 5. Here again same thing I have given. So I am making a P1 object and D1 object. Now let me see what happens between these two statements. You see here, this is a completely different here. When you added the duration, you got this. When you added the period, you got this. Out of this, the duration is exact time in seconds, elapsed seconds. That way it has calculated the date. Here it is perceived based on the actual calendar, by which when you added that many seconds by adjustments of the months in between, like leap year, etc. Ultimately, after this period, what will be the date and time as perceived by humans? If it's a simple stop clock, then it would have simply converted it like this. That's the difference between these two. Anyhow, these are something which you can maybe there will be an occasion where you can use this. So we have covered exhaustively the time and date handling both in base R and using tidyverse. That is a lubridate package. Of course, there are many other functions in lubridate, but the idea here is you must get the basics, then you can use them as required. There is one concept we have not explained here, that is day saving time. not being followed in all the countries. It's being followed in certain countries only, and in US also this is being followed in certain states, and that there's a bill now to repeal that. So they don't want that DST any longer. If you are interested, I have given a link. You can see that video and understand what is DST. So we have not dealt with that DST in our 2 videos. Hope these videos have been followed, understood by you, and let us see in the next video, which is about the regression. This is an important concept in prediction of the linear data. Thanks for watching. Bye from me.